Hi, I'm Dr. John Kenworthy. Welcome to this short tutorial on your brain on anxiety and stress. It is essential to know how our brain responds to the stimuli which trigger an anxiety response so that you are equipped to deal appropriately with anxiety. Let me highlight the key areas of your brain that are involved, and then I will explain what happens inside the brain. The thalamus is the central hub for sights and sounds. The thalamus breaks down incoming visual cues by size, shape, and colour, and auditory cues by volume and dissonance, and then signals the cortex. The cortex then gives raw sights and sounds meaning, enabling you to be conscious of what you are seeing and hearing. And I'll mention here that the prefrontal cortex is vital to turning off the anxiety response once the threat has passed. The amygdala is the emotional core of the brain, whose primary role is to trigger the fear response. Information passing through the amygdala is associated with an emotional significance. The bed nucleus of the stria terminals is particularly interesting when we discuss anxiety. While the amygdala sets off an immediate burst of fear, the BNST perpetuates the fear response, causing longer-term unease typical of anxiety. The locus coeruleus receives signals from the amygdala and initiates the classic anxiety response: rapid heartbeat, increased blood pressure, sweating, and pupil dilation. The hippocampus is your memory center, storing raw information from the senses, along with emotional baggage attached to the data by the amygdala. Now we know these key parts. What happens when we are anxious, stressed, or fearful? Anxiety, stress, and of course fear are triggered primarily through your senses. Sight and sound are first processed by the thalamus, filtering incoming cues and sent directly to the amygdala or to the cortex. Smell and touch go directly to the amygdala, bypassing the thalamus altogether. This is why smells often evoke very powerful memories or feelings. Any cues from your incoming senses that are associated with a threat in the amygdala, whether that threat is real or not, current or not, are immediately processed to trigger the fear response. This is the expressway. It happens before you consciously feel the fear. The hypothalamus and pituitary gland cause the adrenal glands to pump out high levels of the stress hormone cortisol. Too much cortisol short-circuits the cells of the hippocampus, making it difficult to organize the memory of a trauma or a stressful experience. Memories lose context and become fragmented. The body's sympathetic nervous system shifts into overdrive, causing the heart to beat faster, blood pressure to rise, and lungs to hyperventilate. Perspiration increases and the skin's nerve endings tingle, causing goosebumps. Your senses become hyper-alert, freezing you momentarily as you drink in every detail. Adrenaline floods to the muscles, preparing you to fight or run away. The brain shifts focus from digestion to focus on the potential dangers, sometimes causing evacuation of the digestive tract through urination, defecation, or vomiting. Heck, if you're about to be eaten as someone else's dinner, why bother digesting your own? Only after the fear response has been activated does the conscious mind kick in. Some sensory information takes a more thoughtful route from the thalamus to the cortex. The cortex decides whether the sensory information warrants a fear response. If the fear is a genuine threat in space and time, the cortex signals the amygdala to continue being on alert. Fear is a good, useful response essential to survival. However, anxiety is a fear of something that cannot be located in space and time. Most often, it is that indefinable something triggered initially by something real that you sense, but that in itself is not threatening, but it is associated with a fearful memory. And the bed nucleus of the stria terminals perpetuate that fear response. Anxiety is a real fear response for the individual feeling anxious, and anxiety can be debilitating for the sufferer. Now that you know how anxiety happens in your brain, we can pay attention to how we can deliberately use our prefrontal cortex to turn off an inappropriate anxiety response once a threat has passed.
A short, brainy tale about stress and you. Meet Max. Max is stressed. Stressed to the max. Say hi to the nice people, Max. Oh well. Max is a lot like you and me. Too stressed. In fact, 76% of us say we are stressed about money and finances. It's the #1 reported cause of stress. 70% say our jobs are too stressful. Not good, since we spend more time at work than almost any other place. 69% of us say that our stress doesn't affect our children, but 91% of them say it does. 55% experience stress in our relationships with spouses, kids, and coworkers. 45% say they get irritated a lot. 41% are fatigued. 40% have sleep troubles, and 38% lack any real motivation. 52% of us feel stress about personal health concerns, most of which were probably created by stress in the first place. Poor Maxie. You need to relax, Max. All those stressful statistics make our brains hurt just thinking about them. And speaking of your brain, ever wonder what happens to your brain when you're stressed out? Well, for starters, under chronic stress, parts of the brain actually shrink and atrophy. Powerful hormones like cortisol and adrenaline are prepping your body to fight, flee, or freeze. If they continue being released, they start to damage your brain, heart, and other organs. Negative thoughts actually start to kill off neurons, and your mood becomes depressed, foggy, sluggish, and anxious. Decision-making, reason, and judgment are shut down. The oldest, most reflexive structures in the brain are now in control, and they are not happy. But a happy, relaxed brain is a different thing altogether. Your oxygen levels rise. Your heart and breathing rates become lower. Powerful neurochemicals like dopamine and serotonin flood the brain, providing an unshakable sense of well-being, peace, confidence, and, yes, happiness. HGH, or human growth hormone, is released in the body in order to heal cell damage and remove the free radicals caused by prolonged exposure to stress. The parts of the brain responsible for creativity, reason, good decision-making, and problem-solving are now fully active and available to help you make the most out of life. Wow! I guess if you had to choose, you'd rather have a relaxed brain, wouldn't you, Max? Here's how you can lower stress and relax. Science has proven that meditation is extremely beneficial for brain and body, while exercise and play keep you fit, engaged, and active, lowering dangerous levels of stress. You can laugh with others. Studies show that happy people are more resilient. Oh, and find positive things to focus on. Optimism really does change the brain. A quick fact about meditation: perhaps even more than exercise, a daily 20-minute meditation practice can give you better perspective, reduce harmful stress chemicals in your brain, improve your immune system, and raise your overall sense of well-being. Coupled with healthy eating and exercise, you'll be unstoppable. And did you know that you can train your brain to stop the stress response and immediately trigger your body's natural relaxation response? There really is no reason to live with dangerous levels of stress. You can enjoy the benefits of deep relaxation anytime you want by training your brain to go there right now, just like Max. Wow, Max, you look great.